How you doing, everybody? Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer. Welcome to PNC Studio here at Hallis Hall for Bears game preview. The Green Bay Packers on the docket up at Lambeau Field. Yet another primetime affair up there. Hey, just book it every year, right? And we don't want it any other way, frankly. I mean, it's a 7:20 start. Let's go.
You know, it's one of the most widely watched games inside a division around the country that you can possibly have. Everybody knows what type of polarizing personality Aaron Rodgers is and what they want to see out of the continuous development of Justin Fields and what this rivalry means.
Bears get their first win of the year at home, a hard-fought win. Upset, although you can't tell them it was an upset because they don't buy it. They thought they were going to win that game, and they went out and did it.
Right, this is something they've been preparing for since Matt Eberflus has come aboard, and I think they have to have the same mindset each week. And, you know, you have an example to live by and live up to after week one. You have corrections you need to make, and you need to be a better team week two than you were week one.
And they did have an excellent second half. Defensively, offensively, everything came together. Special teams as well did a nice job. The rookies, the kids can play, my man. The kids can play. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. We could spend hours talking about how they all played together.
Right, but you know, that's the expectations. It's not like we don't know how you're going to react into this atmosphere. Matt Eberflus says, if we recognize that you have the talent, we want to play you as soon as possible. And like you said, they all lived up to what was expected of them.
37% of the snaps went to rookies or second-year players in that game. So now the Green Bay Packers, so they had a big flat tire in Minnesota. They got their doors blown off. Justin Jefferson was crazy. He is the best skill position player in the division. I'm not talking quarterbacks here. I'm talking backs,
right,
tight ends. And, you know, I believe Dalvin Cook's second on that list until further notice. But they moved him all over the place. Packers didn't know exactly how to deal with it. Frankly, they really got torn up by that guy.
Well, first of all, you have to have the protection up front to give Kirk Cousins the time to find his receivers downfield. And he matched it perfectly. The offensive line gave him time. Kirk Cousins, you know, he's not going to run away from people like some of the more leg-talented quarterbacks in the league. However, if he recognizes the coverage, knows there's vulnerability in the coverage against Justin Jefferson, give him the time, he's going to go to him.
So when you look at the Packers now, Aaron Rodgers did not throw a touchdown, which is unbelievable, right? But he did throw an interception. That's also unbelievable because he rarely throws interceptions. Now he's at home. Bears are going into his kingdom, so to speak, and they are a different football team when they play at home. Even when things aren't going well, it takes a lot to beat the Green Bay Packers at home.
Yeah, you know, the interception was a desperation type of interception. He could have had a touchdown pass the first play of the game. So I think when, as much as the Bears have to look and study their tape to see how they can improve in week two, it's the same thing with the Green Bay Packers. They still have a very good football team. The environment, the crowd is going to be as hostile as ever before because they know that fan base is coming off a loss week one in the division. So the Green Bay Packers is going to be a better team week two than they were week one. However, when you don't have Devontae Adams and the guy that he targeted so often, that Aaron Rodgers has to distribute the ball around. But he doesn't know exactly who to distribute the ball to. There's plenty of catches by the running backs, still trying to identify what receiver is going to fit in this system the best. So I think it's up to the Bears defensive coaches to make him really uncomfortable.
Right, in the puck. Keep him in there. Don't get him moving. That's when he's dangerous. The ad-lib plays. So that in mind, the Packers may not really know what the Bears have offensively because the Bears really couldn't play their offense. It was a unique game because of the weather.
Right.
They only threw it 17 times. The running game was there to just kind of get you through the day, as it turns out. It was tough sledding in the run game, but you got enough yards to still have that play action become a factor in that game in the second half. Some great design plays. Where do you see the Bears going up there, assuming you got different weather conditions up in Green Bay?
Well, you kind of said it. You know, Justin Jefferson, Darnell Mooney, Justin Fields, he can ad-lib, get outside the pocket. He can challenge the defensive pass rush. Now they have to rush up into the outside instead of just at a point in the backfield. So they have to have the weapons that we saw throughout the preseason that have to continue to develop to really help this offense, i.e. Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. You got to get those guys more actively involved in the offense early to even put more stress on the backside of the defense.
What's the offensive line dealing with with here with this Packer front, because we like to say the 49ers have one of the deepest and best fronts in football, and I still believe that, but the Packers also have a very, very good front.
Right. You know, they play heavy inside three, so the two guards in the center are going to be covered a lot of the time. So you're going to have some individual performances by the two young offensive tackles that either have to sustain their pass protection responsibility or get movement in the running game. Then those guys on the inside, they got to work their power game along with the assistant blockers of the tight ends or the fullback or whomever's going to get a chance. And I do, frankly, like the rotation between Lucas Patrick and Tevin Jenkins. I think it keeps the line fresh. It gives an opportunity for more eyeballs to see what the defense is doing. And maybe Lucas can come in with some of his experiences against this defense, not asking him to help out, but just have a better understanding of what they're trying to do to you.
Well, Kenny Clark's number one on that list, obviously. Yep. Rashawn Gary, they've got some talent up there. Now, conversely, aside from Rodgers, we know what he's capable of. The running game, you know, you can make a case they have a great 1-2 punch, maybe the best 1-2 punch in football. They can do it on both ground and air. And we're talking about Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Bears are going to have to stop the run.
They are, but you have to expose the vulnerabilities on the offensive line. Even if the injured players come back, they haven't played yet.
We're talking about David Bakhtiari at left tackle, and Alton Jenkins. Yep.
Right. And so I think you have to look at the process. How do we get to stop the running game when their first line of offense is the offensive line? So you have to put pressure on that position to try to make the backfield more dysfunctional like they tried to do against the San Francisco 49ers.
Time to look at some players to watch for both of us here. One on each side of the ball. I always defer to the man who's to my superior. You're a little older than me, you know. I think I'm better looking at this point, but you know, you got the experience. So what do you got offensively?
So I'm just going to talk about Darnell Mooney again, because when you look at Justin Jefferson, he was targeted 11 times, had 9 catches, 184 yards. You got to get him involved early. If you're going to have an emphasis of trying to make those defensive backs back off, you know, at or near the line of scrimmage, it's going to take, because you have a guy like Darnell Mooney actively involved in the game instantly.
All right, how about on defense?
On defense, I'm looking at Robert Quinn, because we saw what we got out of Dominique Robinson. I think Al-Quadin Muhammad played a good game. He got some inside pass rush. But if they do have uncertainty at that tackle position, or even if Bakhtiari comes back and play, he hasn't been on the field at all, Jeff.
Right.
But Robert Quinn, he's the type of guy that's coming off of an 18-sack season. So I think he was credited with maybe 2 tackles in the game, maybe 3. He's got to provide that pressure on Aaron Rodgers and, chase him down and get to him.
Right, he was going up against Trent Williams. Obviously, this could be Yosh Nijman, who's the backup right now and is the starter for the Packers until further notice. All right, I'm going with Cole Kmet. Cole, had 1 target in that game, had a lot of inline blocking responsibilities, but I still am going to stick to my guns that this is going to be the best year of his career. I think he's going to get many targets, and I think start to utilize him in a more prominent role. Again, the weather eroded that possibility. Find a matchup you like, because that's a very good secondary right there too. Very good secondary with Jair Alexander. Rasul Douglas rotates in. He'll be more than likely the nickel for them. Eric Stokes is on the outside. That's a solid group to deal with. So if you can somehow hold up and get those short, quick outs, the seam routes, get them in there, get them involved, move the sticks, and just get first downs against this team. Avoid the continuous 3 and outs that give Aaron, these quick snaps, because he's going to try to jump on you early. It always happens when he plays the Bears. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going with chalk here. I'm going with Roquan, because he really became active in the second half of that game against the 49ers. And to me, he has to be where the action is, and the action is going to be flowing to him because of the run game. The run game is going to be something that they are going to try to really pound on the Bears. They've already written about it. They've talked about it after the game. We didn't use Aaron Jones enough, and he still was productive. So I'm thinking there's going to be a full complement of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in that yard until he finds continuity with the receivers. And don't forget, he went first snap, deep ball to Justin Watson, a 4'3", 6'4", 220-pound rookie receiver. He didn't catch it. he may try it again to see if it works on the first snap of the game. That's my game prediction.
One thing about early in the game in the first half, the Bears really fought off some poor field position. They can't do that against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So throughout the first half, they have to have those gains. You can't have 3 and outs because you got to give Aaron Rodgers the longest field to work against.
And a nod to the special teams unit as well. Our friend Patrick O'Donnell, the punter up there in Green Bay, love that guy, but they had some punt protection problems, maybe something to exploit. They'll be working on that, I'm sure, this week in practice. With Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. We'll be on the radio starting at 4 o'clock on WBBM, our pregame coverage, and kickoff is at 7:20. We'll talk to you on the radio then.